Hello, this is Jamie Magridge. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. So let's get started. There's a lot of supplies in this one. I'm using Misty Moonlight and shaded spruce ink. For the cardstock and paper, I have a little strip, it's like 1/4 of an inch of Whisper White, and a scrap of Misty Moonlight for my sentiment. I have a this is a scrap, but 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of Whisper White. I have a 1 1/4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of white, and a 1 1/2 by 5 1/2 inch piece of Misty Moonlight Designer Series paper. It's from the incolor pack. I have another 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of Whisper White, a 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 piece of the Bumblebee of the incolor Designer Series paper. I have a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of Misty Moonlight, and a card base, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do, oh wait, I gotta show you the stamps first. Well, let's just leave this here. Now this one is not Stampin' Up. This is Jillibean soup. It's one I had in my stash. I really wanted to use this large Enjoy. It has a die that matches it, so that I'm using. This is stamp heavy, and birthdays are the best days from Beautiful Friendship for the inside of the card. Campology, I'm using this sentiment for the this image for the inside of the card, and this image and this sentiment for the outside of the card. And then I'm using this image here from Mountain Air. Okay, so let's get started. First thing I'm going to do, I'm also going to be using a couple punches. I have a 2 inch and a 2 1/4 inch circle punch. So I'm going to take this Bumblebee and the 2 1/4, 2 1/4 inch circle punch. I don't know if you can even see that. And right out of the center of it, somewhere, punch circle. Set that aside so I have it, and this can get set aside. I'm done with that punch. Okay, set these aside. Actually, I'm going to use this one to punch on, and this one to stamp on. Okay, so I'm going to start with the scrap paper, and I also have Memento ink. Memento ink. And I'm going to stamp this tea or coffee percolator and cup. I'm going to stamp that a little bit away from the edge so that I can punch it out with a 2 inch circle punch or 2 inch circle die. Alright, whoops, I still need this, so let's not close that up yet. While I have the black ink out, I'm going to let's do this one first. The Enjoy. Ink that up well. Go ahead and stamp it. Okay, then I'm going to stamp my sentiment on this little strip. It's kind of tricky, but it's Enjoy today. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and punch this one out. And with a 2-inch circle punch. And this gets die cut out with the die that matches it. Do that, and I will be right back. Okay, I got that cut out. Put this away. Okay, now I'll move this aside for a minute as well. Now I'm going to take this piece and the Enjoy Today stamp. And we're going to just stamp a random background. I don't think that one's going to show, but I think that's good. Okay, so we're done with the black ink. Put that away. Okay, we can set this aside. And now we need that strip. This one. And the stamp. And the shaded spruce ink. And I found with this, if I do it more at an angle like this, I get less of those sharp lines on it from the ink pad, because it's a long stamp. Let me show you what I mean. If I stamp it this way, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a line there. So if I do it at a diagonal like this, I don't seem to get those as bad. So ink it up well. I'm going to stamp it right straight across this. The tree's a little bit more towards the top. Perfect. Okay. Now I have 2 blending brushes. These aren't the Stampin' Up! Ones. I do have them on the way, but they have not arrived yet. I'm going to take one for green. I'm going to get a little green on there, and I'm actually going to move this out of the way now. I'm going to use my surface here, and the bottom here, I'm going to tap on, this is plastic. Add a little bit of green to this bottom. I don't want a lot. I want enough so that it's not stark white. So I don't want it really to look like snow. Okay, then I can close up this ink for a minute. I'll need it one more time, but I'm done with it for now. Give this a quick little wipe. Just add a tiny bit of, this is Stampin' Mist. Cleans that right up. A little bit of glue there for some other project, okay? And on the top, I'm going to bring in the Misty Moonlight. Add that Misty Moonlight across the top. Oops. Okay, and again, I'm just going to wipe this up. Don't get ink on anything else. Alright, I'm done with the Misty Moonlight ink. Alright, now I think I've got all my stamping done except the inside of my card, so let's go ahead and do that real fast. I'm going to bring in this tree, my shaded spruce ink. I'm going to ink up the tree. I'm going to stamp it off onto my scratch paper, and then I'm going to stamp it on the inside of my card. Okay. Then I'm going to bring in the black ink again. I'm done with the shaded spruce. And birthdays are the best days. I'm going to stamp that right here. So the Y is just above that little tree. Perfect. Okay, now let's set that aside for a minute, and we can assemble this card. I'm just going to use wet glue for most of it. I'm going to use dimensionals for some of it. Okay, first let's add this tree layer to our designer series paper. Too much glue, but it's alright. We'll spread it around a little. And it's going to be an even border all the way around it. It's a 1/4 inch larger than the stamped piece. A little glue's oozing out, so dab it up right away so it doesn't get sticky on my project. Okay, this will get dimensionals on the back of it. Using quite a few. I like it to stay popped up. Okay, I'm not going to take the backs off yet. Now I'm going to adhere this layer to the Bumblebee Designer Series paper, and actually, since there's a hole here, well, I'll just do it and then I'll remove my ink. Just do around the edge. Again, this is going to have just a scant layer of that Bumblebee because it's 1/8 of an inch smaller than the larger. This is smaller than this piece. And then this is going to get mounted to the blue. I must have my wrong glue out, because this one's almost empty. I'd opened a new one. There we go, much better. Line up 3 sides, set it down. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and put this together. Okay, and then I'll put some dimensionals on the back of it. Just going to put them in this center area here. Really should make sure I'm in the right way though. Okay, so let's take the backs off of this one. This is going to go across the front of this card. It's about maybe half an inch, well, 3/4 of an inch from the bottom, but whatever's more pleasing to your eye. Okay, this whole thing can get mounted to the front of the card now. It is the same size. Okay, our little coffee pot. Come on. Okay, this is going to go right over this section here. So, almost looks like a button, or, you know, like that. Then our enjoy is going to get mounted here. So we just need dimensionals on the top half here. And I'm actually going to use partial dimensionals for most of it, or I could probably bring in the baby ones, the little ones, but I'm just going to use some of this edge. Come on. Thank you. I think a whole dimensional will work over here. Okay. Take the back off. And a little bit of wet glue down here. Don't need much. This is going to go here like this. I need to make sure I have glue here. So that's 2 layers high. Okay, now I need a strip to go behind this. Go ahead and bring in this mini trimmer. This is 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, so I need this to be at least, well, let's just do this. That'll work. I don't think it's straight. Ooh, there's something on there. Yeah, it's definitely not straight. But we'll fix that. That's fine. Okay. So now we're going to trim this down a little bit. Place it on here so that there's an equal border around it. Trim that off. Now I'm going to scooch this all the way so those corners match, or that edge matches. And I'm going to snip up to the center. Then I'm going to go from the corner of the blue to that center, both sides. quite do it. Come on. Okay, then I'm going to scooch it to the other end. I'm going to do the same thing. There we go. I don't know why it wasn't cutting, but it wasn't. Alright, then we have our banner. I'm going to cut the ends off of this and do it again, because that end is I'm not happy with. You could use your punch too. I don't have that punch. There we go, much better. Okay, so now when you pull that in, and you'll have that border all the way around, and they'll match each other. Okay, so let's glue that down. Alright, and put some dimensional on the back of that. I'm just going to take a regular one and cut it in half. So that's what I have here. Take the back off. Make sure it's right side up. And I think I only need the dimensional on the one side. So that's going to go here. Let's add a little bit of glue to the under there. There we go. Come on. There's the card we just made together. Oh, I forgot the bow. Now on this one, I used 2 little bows made with baker's twine. But I think on this one, I'm going to try this denim ribbon. I think that would look nice there. So let's bring in a glue dot. I like it without it too. Got the finishing touches. Let's add that bow. And then I brought in some of the holiday rhinestones. You could use the blue ones, or I used the green ones. Let's bring this. So I used one of the bigger ones. Smaller. There we go. There's a card we just made together. Here's the one I did previously. This one I did on the blue card base and then added the white insert. Which one do you like better? Well, thanks for joining me at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper.